Good morning, students. Welcome to the lecture of Real Analysis 1. In the last lecture, we have seen how to find out the derivatives of the functions with different types of having different types of nature. That is, first type of function we have seen if the function is of the type R to R. Okay, then the nature of its derivative is of the type scalar. Okay, why I am saying scalar? Because we are going to calculate the derivatives at the particular point. Second type of function, the function is of the type Rn to R. What is the nature? What we are calling this as? This is multivariable, multivariable real value. Correct? Now, why I am saying this is real value? Because the domain, if you observe, this is R only. Okay. What is the nature of first type of function? This is one variable real value function. And the last type is of the form Rn to Rm. Therefore, this is multivariable vector value function. Multivariable vector value function. Therefore, if the function is of the type R to R, then the derivative found at a particular point gives us the scalar value. If it is of the type Rn to R, then the derivative is of the type vector, rather it's a gradient vector. And then whenever the derivative is of the type Rn to Rm, then the derivative is of the form of matrix, rather it's a Jacobian matrix. Correct, no? Why this is so? Because the mathematician Jacobian has introduced an idea to represent the total derivative of multivariable vector valued function, which is actually possessing mn partial derivatives. Because the systematic arrangement he has made of those mn partial derivatives in terms of a matrix, and that's why the name of this derivative, the name of this matrix is in his honor, that is a Jacobian matrix. This is what we have seen in the last lecture. We have seen some of the examples also. Also, we have seen the examples to find out the directional derivatives. No? Yeah, we have seen the examples to find out the directional derivative. How we have found out the directional derivative? F dash of c comma u. This we have found by calculating del f c dot u. No doubt f is a function of the type Rm to R. The nature of this function is Rm to R. And whatever u here we are considering, don't forget it to take the unit vector. Don't forget it to take the unit vector. Is there any difficulty in the last lecture? Some examples also
No,
I have
ma'am.
given you to solve for homework. Okay. Now in today's lecture, we will go for a next point of proving the mean value theorem for differentiable functions. We are familiar with the mean value theorem of real value, one variable real value function. Can anyone recall what is mean value theorem for differentiable functions? Yes. No doubt the function under the consideration is of the type Rm to Rn, multivariable vector value function. We will just recall what is the mean value theorem for the functions of one variable real value type. Yes, can anyone tell me the mean value theorem for functions here of R to R type? Huh? If your case differentiable on, it is continuous on closed interval AB, differentiable on open interval AB, then there exists a point C in the closed interval AB such that, what such that? F dash of C is equal to FB minus FA upon B minus A. Yes, have you seen this result or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can anyone tell me the geometrical interpretation of this statement? Hmm? Geometrical interpretation. These are the coordinate axis as the function is of one variable. This is going to be somewhere like this. Suppose this is my function. Okay. What this right hand side tells us, let me mark the intervals also. Suppose this is some A and let this be B. Okay. Now what we are going to find out? We want to find out a point C in the closed interval A B such that the fraction of C is equals to FB minus FA upon B minus C. What is the ordinary? What this ordinary derivative is going to represent geometrically? Is it the slope of tangent?
Yes, ma'am.
At point C. What is right hand side? FB minus FA upon B minus A. May I say this is the slope of a tangent, slope of a line joining two points. Which two points?
A and B.
No, this A f of A in two-dimensional space we are writing now, and B f of B. Correct na? Where both the slopes are same. And whenever we have slopes of two different lines are same, what the nature of the lines is there? What kind of nature the lines is going to possess?
Parallel lines.
Yes, those are the parallel lines. Therefore, let me just mark the point A f of A, somewhere here it is, and say B f of B, somewhere here it is. Correct, no? This is the point B f of B, and this is a point A f of A. Therefore, this I will just join by a straight line. Correct, no? Okay. Therefore, the right hand side is going to represent the slope of this straight line. Correct? Now, we want to find out a point C in such a way that the tangent drawn at this point C must be parallel to this line. Why? Because the slope of this tangent and slope of this line are same. Means the nature of the two lines will be parallel to one another. Therefore, let me just draw a line parallel to this line. Okay, passing through A f of A and B f of B. Is it of this type? Correct now? Then what is the location of your C point? This is your C, na? This is the location for C point. Correct or not? Okay.
Yes,
Whether
ma'am.
this point is unique? No, the point is not unique. We can find out the other lines also which are parallel to this line. Let me just draw one more line here. Correct? And what is the location of C? Now let me call that to be some C dash point. What is the location now? Somewhere here it is. Say C dash I will call. Correct now? This is what our mean value theorem in case of one variable real valued function which gives the existence of such a point C where the tangent at this point is parallel to the line joining the end points of the curve. Joining end points of the curve. Correct na? Okay. Or if I want to write it in terms of zxy symbol, one can write this as f dash of z is equal to fy minus f of x upon y minus x, or one can write this as fy minus f of x is equal to f dash of z into y minus x, where z is a point lies between x and y. X and y. So this mean value theorem we have written for the functions of the type R to R. Now we have to check whether this is going to be true for multivariable vector valued functions or not. Okay, and we want to prove that this equation is in general not true for functions of this type. Let me write one example here. Let us check this for f of Rn to Rm type. I am going to check it for this type of function. In the first example, what I will take here is, okay, the function f is defined function f is going to be defined from closed interval 0 to 1 to R3. Okay, and this is defined as f of t is equal to t sine 2 pi by t cos 2 pi by t. Okay, therefore this is one variable vector valued function. One variable vector valued function defined like this. Therefore, what we are going to prove now? We want to prove whether the function is going to possess a statement of this type. Okay. For this, what I have to do? I have to find out f of 0, f of 1, and its the function and its derivative also. Function I have written already. Let me write its derivative. What is the derivative? Partial derivative we have to consider. Na? What is the partial derivative here? This is 1, 2 pi cos 2 pi by t, then minus 2 pi sin 2 pi by t. Correct, no? Hello? Am I
Yes,
audible
ma'am.
to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Now what the point we will select here? We will select the point x as 0, y as 1. Okay, and we have to find z. We have to find z. So let us search what is the value of f of 0. Let me put t as 0 in this statement. Therefore this is 0, sin 0, 0, cos 0, 1. What about f of 1? F of 1 is t equal to 1 I am putting. T equals to 1, this is sin 2 pi. Sin 2 pi is
0.
0. What about cos 2 pi?
-1.
Minus 1 or
0.
plus 1?
1 1.
Minus 1 raised to 2, na? Cos 2 pi is minus 1 raised to n, na? Cos n pi. Cos n pi is minus 1 raised to n. Now what is the value of n? We are putting 2. So this is plus 1. Right? Now let me just find out what is f dash of c say. T or z you can find. F dash of z. Okay, what is the value of f dash of z? Let me put t equal to z here. 1, 2 pi cos 2 pi z minus 2 pi sin 2 pi z. What the statement says? If MVT is true, what I will write say, if MVT is true, what should be the statement? F1 minus F0 is equal to f dash of z into 1 minus 0. What is F1? 1, 0, 1. What is F0? 0, 0, 1 into f dash of z. Or let me write the value of f dash of z. What is f dash of z we have calculated? 1, 2 pi cos 2 pi z minus 2 pi sin 2 pi z. Okay, 1 minus 0 is 1. Now what is the value of left hand side? Left hand side is 1 minus 0, 1, 0 and 0, which is equals to 1, 2 cos 2 pi cos 2 pi z minus 2 pi sin 2 pi z. Okay, let me equate coordinate wise. If we equate coordinate wise, first coordinate is 1 is equals to 1, no problem. Second coordinate is 0 is equals to 2 pi cos 2 pi z, and third is 0 is equals to minus 2 pi sin 2 pi z, which in turn gives us, let me shift 2 pi to the left, this gives us cos 2 pi z 0 minus 2 pi shifted to the left, it is giving us sin 2 pi z is equals to 0. But can you find a value of z in such a way that both sine and cosine values are 0 simultaneously? Yes? Can we find such a value of z at which both sine ratio and cosine ratio is giving us a 0 value simultaneously? Is it possible to have sine and cos 0 simultaneously?
No, ma'am.
No, it is not possible. Therefore, this kind of z is not going to exist. So here we will write, but cos and sine are not 0 simultaneously. What can we say? What can we say? Such as Z do not exist. Such as Z do not exist. Therefore, here one can write that MVT fails. Mean value theorem, which we have written for the functions of R to R type, is not true in general for the functions of one variable or multivariable vector valued function. Therefore, there is a need to have a modification in the mean value theorem. Okay, you can just cross check with one more example here I am giving you. Let us suppose the function is of the type R2 R2 and f of t we are going to define by cos t and sin t say. Okay, and the values of x is set 0, y is set 2 pi. Then we have to find out z. And here also you have to check whether such a z is going to exist or not. And here also it is not possible to find such a z. Therefore, mean value theorem fails. Therefore, in general, whatever the mean value theorem we have written for the functions of this type is not true for the functions of multivariable vector valued function. Therefore, there is a need to have the modification in the statement. And it was observed that, or it was proved that the correct equation is obtained by taking a dot product on both the sides of the statement with a suitable vector in the domain space. By the suitable vector is in the domain space, which actually gives us the useful generalization of mean value theorem for vector valued functions. Okay. In order to understand this, first let me just write a small note. Of equation of line joining any 2 points in the n-dimensional spaces. Okay. Already we have seen in an n-dimensional space, if a point C, from a point C, if we draw a line parallel to a vector V, then it gives us a line segment starting with point C, ending on C plus V. What is the point in between the 2 points we have written? Parametric equation. C plus H2, no? From here, it's C plus TV here, where T is the parameter. And if T takes a value between 0 to 1, if T takes value 0, this gives you first point. If T equals to 1, it gives a second point. If T lies in between 0 to 1, it will be a point be on this line segment. If T takes a value greater than 1, then it will be on the line extended further. Less than 1, it gives less than 0, it will give you on the line extended backward. Is this point clear to everyone? C plus TV. Now we are going to write a different form for this one. Now, if I just want to change the notation, let me put C is equal to Y. C plus V is equal to X. That is, we are interested in finding the equation of a line joining the 2 points X and Y. Here we have written this line segment is passing through C parallel to V, therefore the endpoint we are getting as C plus V. But if I want to write in general the equation of a line passing through the 2 points or joining the 2 points, subset S in an R in this case, then same equation can be used. How can I use the same equation? C plus T. What is C? Y. T. What is V? What is V from this?
X minus C.
Yes, this is X minus C. But C already we have taken to be Y, no? Correct, no? C I have taken already Y. Therefore, now let me collect the coefficients of X and Y. What is the statement then? This is Tx. What are the coefficients of Y? Is it 1 and minus T? Right now? 1 and minus T. Okay, therefore the equation of line segment joining X, Y in an Rn space is given by. How we are going to give this? This is denoted by the symbol L. L of xy, that is line segment joining X and Y, is given with collection, say tx plus 1 minus t into 1. And what is the range for t? T lies between 0 to 1. Okay, if t is 0, this will give us a first point. Correct now? If I call this as x, this is x and this is y. And if I just put t equal to 0, this gives you y. If t equal to 1, this gives you x. Okay, understood the equation of line segment?
Yes,
Joining
ma'am.
any 2 points x, y in Rn. Okay, what is the statement? This is tx plus 1 minus t into 1. Now let us come to the mean value theorem. We will write the statement. What the statement says that let S be an open subset of Rn and assume that F from S to Rm is differentiable at each point of S. Okay, the function is defined on an open subset. Let S be open subset S of an n-dimensional space, and this is also given that it is differentiable at every point of the domain. Let x, y be 2 points of yes, 2 points of yes, such that what such that line segment joining x and y is contained in yes. Then prove. What to prove? For every vector A in Rm, there is a point z in xy that is on the line x and y, that is in between x and y, such that what such that a into fy minus fx is equals to a into f dash of z into y minus x. Just look at the statement. What is the change in both the statements? Here the statement is fy minus fx, fy minus fx equal to f dash of z into y minus x. Okay. Now in the corrected statement, we have taken a dot product by a on both the sides. A fy minus fx is equal to a into f dash of z minus y minus x. Taking a dot product with a, actually the properties is going to change. Whenever we take f defined on any element of s, that is f of x, say, what is the resultant? What is the resultant? Is the resultant is an element of Rm space. Correct, na? I don't know. I didn't learn. This is not to be included in the for A in Rm. Sorry, we start with x in Rm. Suppose x is in any point in the domain space. What about it fx image? In which space it is going to be there? Is
Rm.
a function for yes, it is in Rm. Okay. Then what is the statement given to us? A is a vector in Rm. That is, A is also a vector in Rm. Okay. What about fy minus fx? If both these vectors are in Rm, what about fy minus fx? Is it in the
It
same
will also
space?
Rm.
Yes, it will belongs to the same space because Rm is a vector space and is closed under the addition of two vectors. This is actually subtraction, but in vector spaces we have not defined a subtraction. No? Subtraction is taken to be addition with an additive inverse. Correct or not? Whenever we are defining this a minus b, actually it means as a plus of minus b, where minus b is an additive inverse of b. Therefore, this is defined as an addition of a with additive inverse of b. Why? Because we have not defined a subtraction. We have not defined a subtraction in the vector spaces. So whatever this fy minus fx is an addition and Rn is closed under addition, therefore this vector is belonging to Rn. Now what about the dot product then? Fy minus fx and a, both are the vectors in Rn spaces. But what is the resultant of this dot product of these two vectors?
It belongs to Rm.
Rm, sure? Suppose I have two vectors. A, this is what a question I think I have asked you in the last lecture. A is A1, A2, and B is B1, B2. Node or both are the members of R2 spaces. Then what about the dot product? How we have defined? A1, B1 plus A2, B2. No? What is this number then? What is this resultant? Is it a scalar or a vector?
Scalar.
It is a scalar. That is dot product of any two vectors gives us the scalar quantity. Therefore here also may I say this belongs to R.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Similarly, what about the quantity on the right side? A, F, F dash of Z is also an element in Rm space. Because taking a derivative, we are not going to change the dimensions of the coordinate space. Therefore, this is also a vector in, yes,
R.
dash Z.
Rm.
Okay. But whatever this left hand side and right hand side we are getting, both gives us the real numbers, the scalars numbers. Both gives us the scalar numbers. Okay. And that's why mean value theorem was taken like this. Okay. Let me go towards the proof of the statement so that the idea will be clear. Coming to the proof, now in order to prove this result, we are going to start with S to be an open set subset of Rn. Okay, function f is defined from S to Rn, which is differentiable. X and y are the 2 points of the set S, such that line joining the 2 points is in the same set. Why this condition is essential? Because whenever the line joining the 2 points is in S, okay, then whatever this Z number we are going to obtain on the line will be in the same set. Correct, na? This is yes contained in Rn. If I am taking X and Y are the 2 points such that line segment joining the 2 points is in the same set, then what about the point Z on the line segment? Whether this Z belongs to yes or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's why the condition was imposed that the line segment joining the 2 points is in the same set. Okay, now let us start the proof. To give the proof of this statement, we are going to start with an assumption. Let u is defined to be y minus x. Okay, u is defined to be y minus x. Okay, what about an arbitrary point in this domain? Let me draw the sketch. This is x, this is y. How should I write the arbitrary point on the line segment joining the 2 points? Let me write it as x plus tu. Let me write it as x plus tu. Correct? Where u lies between 0 to 1 node. Now what is another thing given to us? Since S is open and line segment joining the 2 points is contained in S, then there exists delta greater than 0 such that, what such that? X plus tu belongs to S. X plus tu belongs to yes. Yes or no? Whether this element belongs to yes or no?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay. But here we have to restrict the values of t. No doubt the values of t is going to be defined. This value is true for t equals to for x. Okay. Now Now here, may I write the values of t belongs to minus delta to 1 plus delta. Why this is so? Because the equation of line segment joining the 2 points x and y, we have already written this is tx plus 1 minus t into y, where t belongs to closed interval 0 to 1. Okay, now here we want to include the two values or this closed interval 0 to 1. Therefore, we are selecting a number delta greater than 0 such that minus delta, this t belongs to minus delta and 1 plus delta. Let me show you. This is a real line. Somewhere here it is my origin. Okay, somewhere here it is some delta, small positive number delta. Then where is the position for 1 plus delta? Somewhere here. Correct. Where is the location for minus delta? Somewhere here. Is it okay? And where is 1? Suppose somewhere here it is 1. Okay, are you getting me? These are the two locations 0 and 1. Now we are selecting the range for t to be belongs to minus delta to 1 plus delta. This range is selected because if I select this range of t minus delta to 1 plus delta, no doubt it is going to include both the values of 0 and 1. Why? Because for t equals to 0, it is giving us the point y. For t equals to 1, it is giving us the point x. Okay, so this range of t was selected just to ensure or just to include both the points 0 and 1. Now we will take a fixed vector a as given in the statement. We will take a fixed vector a in Rm and we will define a new function, new real valued function I am going to define. Why real valued is being defined? Because we know the mean value theorem is true for the function of the type one-dimensional real value. Okay, here what I am going to define, let a be a fixed vector in Rm, fixed vector in Rm, and capital F be a real valued function. Capital F is a real valued function defined on which open interval we are going to define minus delta to 1 plus delta. Okay, why this is so? To include 0 and 1. To include 0 and 1 defined on y. How will you define this? Just check. I am going to define this as f of t, capital F of t. Small f is already given, where we are going to define this as a into f of x plus tu. Okay, no doubt this is a vector in Rm. This is also a vector in Rm, but the dot product of two vectors in Rm, this will be a real valued function. Let me call it as statement number 1. Okay, therefore here I will call this is a real valued function. Okay, whatever is this vector valued function given to us in the statement here, by using this here, we have defined a new function called as f of t, which is a real valued function. And if it is a real valued function, may I say the mean value theorem is true for this function. Now we have to just check differentiability of this function on the domain. Now whether the function is differentiable, capital A dot this f of x plus tu, already it is given that this small f is differentiable. We have taken a dot product, therefore this capital F is going to be differentiable. Okay, so here I will write then capital F is differentiable on minus delta to 1 plus delta and derivative is given there. Derivative is given there. What is the derivative of this function? This is capital F dash of t is equals to a dot. Now here we will take the directional derivative or we can set total derivative. As both the numerical values are same, one can take any. F dash of t, a, f dash of x plus tu, okay. Or one can write this as f of x plus tu operated on u. Total derivative, right? Right? because the previous theorem tells us PC operated on U is f dash of CU. Okay, which in turn can be written as f dash of C upon U also. Correct, no? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this is f dash of T. Now we will use the usual mean value theorem. My usual mean value theorem for real value functions. What we will have? We have. I'm going to take x as 0. So which values I'm going to take? X 0, y 1, and suppose z some theta I'm going to take. So what is the statement? Is it f1 minus f0 equal to f dash of theta into 1 minus 0. Theta lies between 0 to 1, or you can write like this: 0 less than theta less than 1. Okay, now what remains? Simply to substitute the value. 1 minus 0 is 1, therefore let me write f1 minus f0 is equal to f dash of theta. Let me call this as statement number 2. Now let us find out the value of f dash of theta by putting t is equal to theta in this. I have not given a number. Let me call this as 2. Okay. Therefore, let me put t equals to theta in this 2. Let me call this as 3. Okay. Now, what is the flash of theta? Particular flash of theta. Yes. This is 2. Let us put theta is equal to t is equal to theta. A dot f dash of x plus theta u and u. This is y minus this is u. Next step, what I'm going to write is A. Let me assume this point to be some point. If I want to write x plus theta u as some z, say, what is u initially we have taken? This is y minus x. Right? Z is equal to x plus theta u. Correct now? Instead of tu, I have written x plus theta u. What is the value of f dash of theta we have obtained? This. Let me call next number 4. Okay. And we will calculate the left hand side f1 minus f0. What is f1 minus f0? F we have defined with this. Okay. Therefore, putting 1 and 0 in this equation number 1. If I put 1, this gives me a f of x plus u. If I put 0, this gives us a f of x. Check. If I put t as 1, this is a f of x plus u. If I put t 0, this is a f of x. That is what I have. Okay. Next, as we have taken u to be y minus x, what is x plus u? Is it y? So this is a f y minus a f x, where I can write this as a f y minus f x. And what is the number to this? 5. Now what we have to do? We have to put both the values of 4 and 5 in this 3. Put 4, 5 in 3. What this 3 says that f1 minus f0, let me write 3. f1 minus f0 is equal to f dash of theta. What is f1 minus f0? A fy minus fx. A fy minus fx. What is f dash of theta? A f dash z into y minus x. Okay, therefore hence this is a proof for the mean value theorem of vector valued functions. Any difficulty? What we have done simply by taking f to be our vector valued function. Okay, we have taken x plus tu be a point in S. We have defined this t of this range minus delta to 1 plus delta, just to include 0 and 1. Why to include 0 and 1? Because in the proof we are going to write the mean value theorem for the two values 0 and 1. Then by using that small f vector valued function, we have defined capital F to be a real valued function as a dot f of x plus tu, and then just we have used the usual mean value theorem. We have substituted the value, and at last we got the result that this is a mean value theorem for the multivariable vector valued function. I hope there is no difficulty in this. If you have any kind of difficulty, you can ask. No? Yes, students, whether you have the difficulties in this?
No, ma'am.
No? Shall I go for the next point then? Next point is actually a theorem. A concept was known to us in one variable real valued function, that whenever the derivative of a given function at a given point is 0, then the function is constant at the point, correct, corresponding point. Correct, na? That is, whenever we are writing f dash of c is equals to 0 for all c in the domain, in the domain, say whatever is the domain, say D is the domain, then what we are writing, f of x is constant, no? Constant on the domain. Now the question arises, is the result true, or is the result true for multivariable vector valued function? Multivariable vector valued function is the question, and actually we were going to prove that the same kind of result holds for the multivariable vector valued function, but provided we have to restrict the nature of the domain, and the nature of the domain is a connected subset. So before going to the statement itself, let me just recall what is a connectedness. Yes, complete, compact connectedness. I think all of you are familiar with these concepts. When a matrix is said to be connected, metric space rather, or any subset, a metric space. Yes? When we say that connectedness holds,
Complete and compact असेल तर मॅम.
complete and compact. That is our alternative definition actually. What is the meaning? A basic definition. Okay, without wasting a time, let me tell you, connected means whenever a subset of a metric space is said to be connected, if we cannot express it as a union of two different open subsets. Union of two different open sets, two different non-empty open sets. Correct now? Let us write one example. Shall I write the definition? A subset of a metric space. Definitions are actually easy. We were making them more difficult to understand. Connected means what? We cannot separate it. We cannot make its two parts. Then it is connected. A subset of a metric space XB is said to be connected if it cannot be expressed. See what I am saying? Cannot be expressed. It cannot be expressed as union of two non-empty. Non-empty is essential, okay? Two non-empty open sets. This is a definition from R.R. Goldberg's book, right? Let us take an example. Suppose we have an open interval with us. Any open interval. Suppose 1, 2 I am considering. Can we express this open interval as union of two non-empty open sets? Now here open set means an open interval. Can we express this open interval as union of two different open intervals?
No, ma'am.
No, we cannot, because if I separate this from 1.5 say in between, And if I want to write like this, it's an open, it's a union of two non-empty open sets 1, 1.5, 1.5. But if I take the union, whether the point 1.5 is included or not, because it is
No, it is
excluded
not.
from both the sets. Yes, it is not. So we cannot write like this. Correct, na? If open interval is connected set, every open interval. Every open interval is connected. What about one more example? Say if I'm going to define the set yes to be set of all real numbers subtracted with singleton zero. Connected or is not?
Not connected, ma'am.
Not connected. Why? Because yes, we can write as which. How can I write this as union of two? Which two sets? We can write this as a union. All the remaining students, are you getting this point or not? Connectedness definition is easy. We are making it more difficult. This is 0. Okay, from this real line, we want to exclude this point 0. Therefore, how can I write this R into union of two open sets? Two different open sets. To the right of 0, what we have? Positive numbers. To the left of 0, what we have? Negative numbers. Where 0 is excluded. Therefore, can I write this R to be A union B? Can I write it or not? Yes, it is. It can be written as the union of two sets, two different sets. For yes is not connected. Connected is compact and complete. That is also true. But if I want to understand the definition of connected, this is a simple way to understand. Is it okay? Now, from this on this connectedness, we have one theorem which we are going to use while proving the given statement. But this theorem we are going to take it without proof. And the theorem says that every open connected is polygonally connected. Every open connected set in Rn is polygonally connected. Let us try to understand what is polygonally connected. Okay, polygonally connected, the meaning is, suppose this is an open subset yes in an Rn space. Polygonally connected means whenever we take any 2 points in the given space, then the 2 points are joined by a polygonal arc. The points are joined by polygonal arc. That's why it is called as polygonally connected. Okay, every pair of points is polygonally connected. Every pair of points in the set can be joined by a polygonal arc lying in the set. If you want the proof of this statement, this I have taken from page number 89 of TM Apostrophe. Mathematical analysis, TM Apostrophe. This statement is essential for proving our next theorem, that if the derivative is 0, the function is going to be constant. Okay, let us stop for today. This I can take, or if I have some 5 to 10 minutes, I can complete. Okay, let it be. Try to complete in 5 minutes. We will take it in the next lecture. We will stop for today. If you have any kind of difficulty, you can ask me. from student side, if you have any difficulty, you can ask. Okay, let us stop then. You are not having a difficulty, it seems. So let us stop for today. Thank you for being with me for this today's lecture.